The Marvel Cinematic Universe is definitely Calum and I's favourite cinematic universe, and there's loads of reasons for that. With some of our favourite characters throughout all of cinema and fiction, it's easy to see why it's been so successful. But you know, we've recently been talking here in the channel about the MCU, especially in our last podcast, where we sort of suggested how it could have and should have ended with Avengers Endgame. And I've seen this been talked about a lot in different forums and videos, and I just wanted to create this short video to put across our argument for why it should have ended with that final blockbuster, the fourth Avengers film, Avengers Endgame. Hope you guys enjoy. Now, with Endgame being the conclusion to so many story arcs in the cinematic universe, I think it's definitely a viable reason to suggest that it probably should have ended the MCU, or at least bring a gradual halt to that cinematic universe. I mean, that's not to say I didn't enjoy Spider-Man Far From Home, but I think when you have such a big bad in Thanos, it's hard for any other movie to sort of reach that high, reach that expectation, and also kind of reach that level of hype before the film. I mean, I remember Calum and I for Avengers Endgame, it was our most hyped movie ever, and you know, with over 20 movies leading up to that, it's definitely clear to see why we were so excited for it. And you know, upon reflection, I still absolutely love that film, and maybe that's why I'm sort of leaning towards the MCU finishing with that film rather than continuing these storylines with Black Widow, The Eternals, and other films like that. So it's not to say that I dislike any of these future projects or future films, but I don't know, I feel like with the hype surrounding that film and with the huge universe-altering story arc, I think it definitely should have ended there. Now, what Calum was saying is that Endgame probably should have finished with a Thanos snap, and that sometimes the good guys don't always win. And I actually think that's a really great idea as well, and that definitely would be cinema defining in and of its own. You know, we've never really seen a film do that to that degree before, and it really, in my opinion, definitely would set the MCU aside as being one of the best, if not the best, cinematic tale of all time, especially with the dozens of movies that are eclipsed in there and the TV shows. I just feel like Endgame was a perfect conclusion for so many story arcs, and to be honest, I wouldn't be complaining if it was over 4 or 5 hours long. You know, if the directors Joe and Anthony Russo needed to conclude these story arcs rather than refreshing it with new ones, I think this movie easily could have been longer than the 3 hours that we got. But it's just a little interesting video I kind of wanted to make, because we see with characters like Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and just the Avengers in general, I mean, a lot of those story arcs are concluded, especially Iron Man's and Captain America's. And even though I'm excited for Thor 4, that's a tongue twister in and of itself, I just would have liked to see all these characters have a final happy ending, if you will, or at least the movie end with Thanos snapping his fingers as well. I think that would have been a very great ending also. Avengers Endgame is one of those movies where I think we'll look back in 10 or 20 years time and think of it in the same way we do Empire Strikes Back and other big blockbusters like that. And you know, the MCU has some great projects coming up, but I really do believe it should have ended with that film. I think especially with the ending with Captain America, who really had the most emotional pivot in the film, as well as Iron Man, of course. I think that was a perfect opportunity to close that chapter and maybe start a new universe. But rather than continue, I think was a little bit disappointing. But yeah, that's just the luck of the draw, I suppose. I'm not a filmmaker, of course, so I'm not the expert. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this little short videos just throughout the channel. We're going to be doing a lot of short little videos like this just to keep the content coming to you guys up until Christmas, and let us know in the comments what you think about it. Do you think Avengers Endgame should have finished and concluded the MCU? Would really be interested to hear your thoughts. So yeah, thank you very much guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. I know Calum does as well, and stay tuned for Monday night when we release our Disney Part 10. Well, we'll be reviewing Tarzan, Emperor's New Groove, Dinosaur, and Fantasia 2000. So look forward to that guys, and take care.